Welcome back everybody to Mackenzie Woodworking. Our project today is an Adirondack table caddy. It's to hold all your condiments for your picnics and for the cottage. There's there. It looks like a couple of Adirondack chairs on the ends and a box in the center for miscellaneous stuff, your spoons and forks and everything. So our project is based out of 3/4 inch material, and I'm using cedar, and I'm just putting on a sacrificial board, or a board that I can use the fence and just bring it away from the vertical support for the bandsaw. I like to use the bandsaw when I'm cutting these small slats instead of the table saw. You save a lot of material and it's a lot safer, so I'm just setting it up there. And what I do as well too is, so our pieces are, we need 6-inch, 9-inch, and 16 inches. So I'll cut each board to length, and then we'll run all our pieces through, and then that way we're not chopping all our boards as we need them. This one here is 16 inches, and as you can see, we're cutting through, and we'll just cut them through. Our slats are 3/8 of an inch thick, and we'll cut the entire board. What I'm showing you here in the background for the woodworkers, we have our drill press and its table set up right beside my small bandsaw, and I can bring up that table to a height so that it's used as a drop table. So as you're pushing the product across, it slides right onto the drill press table. And then if I need the bandsaw out of the way, all our tools are in wheels. I can just move that back. So if you have a shop and you're looking for an outfeed table, a good thing is to pair them up with your vertical drill press and its table, so it can just go right on. And here we're just continuing to cut slats. So I'll cut the this entire board. We won't need that many for one caddy, but I've set up jigs, and so I'll be doing actually 2 or 3 of them. So we'll cut up all these boards. You can see from the other angle, and you can see how it just comes right across, and it'll slide right onto our drill press table. So it's used as an outfeed table. And then when I get usually halfway through the board, what I'll do is turn the board around and then start from the other edge as well, so that you've always have a nice square edge. See, I've just turned the board around, and now I'll continue to push it through. And everybody always wants to know where I get our blades, so that's where we get our blades from. Timberwolf for the small saw, and for our 20-inch we have them custom made for us. But Timberwolf has a good blade manufacturer. If you enjoy these, please think about buying me a coffee. Everything's appreciated, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep on sending out videos. So what I have here is a sacrificial board that we set up for jigs and stuff. We use this quite often, and we have a piece of, it's a 3/4 inch plywood, and we have a 90-degree angle on it, and then we can just pin on stops and everything. So what I've done here, these are the end pieces of the box. So what I'm trying to make it look like is a crate. So we have vertical pieces, and those are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And I've just ran some glue on them, and I'll only put 1 pin in the center of them. And the pins are 3/8 of an inch pins. There it is there, and you can see that there's a stop, and I have a small mark that tells me where the center goes. There's a close-up, so I just make sure that they're the same. Sometimes when you cut them with a bandsaw, one side might be a little bit bigger than the other, and just run a bit of glue on it. And this is exterior glue. I like to use Type-On 3, and that just goes in, and our blocks are already squared, and that's spaced. And I'll start at the bottom, and then put one at the top, and then just place one in between. And I have a mark marked on the wood. I have a couple of pencil marks. And I use this sacrificial board quite often in the shop. And I also use it as whenever I'm laying out my biscuit joints, if I'm ever biscuit jointing. You can see I have a couple of marks there on the end, and I'll just level that up by eye and put a pin in it. And those are done now. These are our end pieces, and what I've done is I've put down three 1-inch pieces of foam together, put a little bit of glue in them, wrap them in duct tape, and that's my form. That's the size of my box. I measured it so that when it gets clamped together, that's the width of the lats that are going in between. Then I can just put it down and square it up, and now they're not falling over, and I'm not having to fasten them to anything. You can see I've put another piece along the bottom as a nailer. And these are 16 inches, and I've already made a 3.5-inch mark on the end of them. So I'll put one on both ends. And then I'll take off the clamp, and then I can just fill in between. And these are the 16-inch long ones. And the foam block works really good. And if your foam's too high, just take it to the bandsaw and cut it off. And when we do a lot of manufacturing of special products and we need a jig mag, we'll use high density foam like this and then just wrap it in duct tape. I'm just eyeballing these. This is the bottom that you're seeing, and so you want that to spill over. And you can see how the foam core works, it holds it all in, and now I can pop it out and just put on the back. So what you're looking at here is the ends. And I've decided that I want this to look like a crate, so I've done my vertical supports on the outside instead of the inside, if you like it the other way around, but I wanted it to give it to the appearance of a crate. So, and this is the back. So the back gets a 16-inch piece that goes all the way across at the top, and so that will end up being the support, the backrest for the vertical seat pieces. The same thing, just a dab of glue on it and one pin in the center, and that's basically just to hold it in place, and once that glue sets in the pin. So, and now we'll do the front, and the front gets the 16-inch board through the center rail. You see, we're just, and that goes there, and like I said, I put a pencil mark on all of them at 3.5 inches, so I know exactly where they go. And I'll just put on the top piece there again, and that make sure that it's square. Having the foam core block keeps everything nice and square. There, and that's the front portion of it. You can see once you have your jig set up how quickly it goes. So I just have some sacrificial piece of the plywood that I cut in, and this is just for the divider that holds the napkins in. And that's a napkin holder, and you want to put that at the back portion of it. What I have changed on the ones that I've done after this, I've gone to a larger piece there for the divider, deeper and a little wider, so that the pins can go into it easily. It's a little hard to get the pins right in the center. And these are the runners for the seats. The traditional Adirondack, the rails for the seats are down on an angle, and that's what we're trying to copy, is an Adirondack chair. So mine are cut at 15 degrees, but depending on the size of the wood and stuff, so we just cut those and put a little bit of glue on them and pin them in. And this is a backer for the back of the seats, the slats. So I just put that in there. And what I've done is just use a little bit of fast set glue, super glue on it, and just push it in. And I'll just make sure that it's square. And then one on top. And the vertical post on the outside is cut 3/8 of an inch short, or whatever your lath is. If you're using 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch lath, you want to cut that short so that it'll match up with the other side. And I've made a mark in the very center. And what I've done is I've just laid these out and round at the top. Just use a soup can and round at the top. I've only went with 3 lats. So the center one has just a curve on the top, and then the 2 sides would have a right and a left angle. And then I just turn the chair around and let it overhang the table. And I can just put a dab of glue on it and just eyeball it and make sure that it's the same angle and coming through. You can do this by eye. It doesn't have to be, you don't need a gauge or anything for it. And they all get 1 pin. Same thing here. This is, I'm putting on the handrail, or not the handrail, the top of the seat. And that goes on the vertical post and on the back post. And it's glued down again. I'll just check it for size, make sure that once the armrest is square, I'll just put a pin in the end of it. Like I said, I've got this fast set glue in it, and when it sets, it's quite hard. You can see by the side there that it's taken the form of an Adirondack chair. That's what we're really trying to mimic here, so that it looks. And I didn't sand all my pieces on purpose. I want them to have that rough look to them. This is a piece that'll be on picnic tables and outside and at the cottage. So you want that rustic look. That's what we're after. You can see here that I've got my mustard and ketchup bottle in there, and a masonry bottle to hold the utensils and the napkins that go on the back. We've got some summertime napkins. So hope you enjoyed this project, and if you're a crafter that sells things at markets, these are quite popular. I have an order for a few of them, so we've got to make up a few of them and give them away to friends and clients. And please stay tuned to more projects, and if you enjoyed this and you want to help support, please buy me a coffee and subscribe. We'll appreciate it. It helps the channel and it'll keep us going. So look forward to the next videos coming up, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.